Hi, thanks for joining me today. My name is Susan and this is my cozy kitchen. Today I'm making a traditional Hungarian goulash. I'm accustomed to American goulash, which is more of a casserole, something like chili mac, but traditional Hungarian goulash is more of a beef stew. So today, that's what we'll be making. We finally have some fall weather and it's perfect for soup. In all of my questing for a recipe, everything I read said you have to have Hungarian paprika. So I went online and I finally found this Hungarian paprika. It's a sweet paprika. You can buy a hot, but I went with the sweet paprika because that's what my family likes. If your family likes it hot, then go for the hot. I have my recipe written out. This is a conglomeration of about 5 different recipes that I saw online. I took inspiration from all of them. Now, one of the things that I need to tell you about this, there may or may not be potatoes in a regular goulash. Some people actually serve their goulash over mashed potatoes or some egg noodles. First thing, 2 tablespoons of butter into my big pot. Turn it up on high. Okay, the butter is melted. Now it is time to add onion. I have 2 onions diced. Put those in here. Stir them up. And I'm going to let these cook for about 10 minutes. I want them nice and soft and cooked until they are almost translucent. Okay, so I left this on a little bit too high. Got a little burned area in there, but you know what? I'm just gonna call it flavor and keep going. I'm not gonna worry about it. They still have about 3 minutes left to go until they have cooked their 10 minutes. While this is finishing, I'm going to mix the beef with some flour and get that ready to go in. The recipe calls for 1.5 to 2 pounds of beef cubed up nice and small, just breaking it apart a little bit. And I'm going to sprinkle half of the flour over that. The rest of my flour over it. And then I'm just going to stir that together. The onion is nice and cooked. Now to this, I'm going to add 3 rounded tablespoons of sweet Hungarian paprika and a teaspoon of caraway seed. And now just sprinkle that on. Let's stir that in together. Let that start cooking a bit. Now we have all of that in there. I'm going to add the other 2 tablespoons of butter now and let that start melting as I'm stirring in the paprika and the caraway seeds. And once the butter melts, then I'm going to add the beef. I'm gonna push my onion a bit to the side and add the beef. Going to throw all of it in there with what's left of the flour and stir that in. Trying to get the onions incorporated all the way through it with the paprika so that it really flavors the beef as it's cooking. Going to cover that, turn it down a bit, and I'm going to cook this for about 7 minutes. I'll stir it occasionally. I just want the beef to get browned a little bit and then it'll finish cooking with the rest of it later. The meat has cooked for 7 minutes. It's at least halfway done, so that's perfect. Next, I'm going to add peppers and garlic. If you haven't noticed yet, this is about layering and it's about cooking it slowly together. So this is 4 cloves of garlic minced, and then a red, an orange, and a yellow bell pepper, also all of them diced. Stir all of that together to let the garlic and peppers cook into the meat for about 10 minutes. Again, I'm going to put the lid on, lower the heat just a little bit. Okay, the garlic and the peppers have cooked in here for 10 minutes with this. Now take a look. It's starting to sweat out the juices from all the different vegetables that we've put in there, and it's just kind of already making its own soup as it's cooking. Time to add more stuff. Okay, I have 2 carrots that I cut in little half moons. So that I cut in half moons. So I have 2 carrots like that, and then I have about 1.5 cups of diced tomatoes. 2 to 3 tomatoes, depending on the size of your tomatoes. Stir that in, and then I have 3 medium potatoes that I diced. I've had them sitting in some cool water just to keep them from oxidizing and turning dark. I'm going to drain those now and then add all of that. All right, so here are my diced potatoes. Stir those in. Yeah, this is getting to be a really big pot of goulash. Look at all the color and all the meat. It's going to be so delicious. I have a cup of beef broth that I'm going to add in. Let that kind of settle in there. And I'm going to scrape the bottom of the pan here, or the pot, and try to loosen any bits and pieces of meat or vegetable that are down there. Get those worked up so that that will help to flavor the whole dish. Okay, those little pieces that get stuck to the bottom, you don't want them to burn, but if they get down there and get nice and brown and then you scrape them up, that adds such wonderful flavor to your dish. Going to add the rest of my carton here. This will be 4 cups total of beef broth. Get all that in there. Stir that in. Now to that I'm going to add 1 beef bouillon cube. I'm also adding 2 bay leaves. So toss those in. I'm just going to stir this together. Now the lid goes back on. I'm going to bring it up to a boil. Then I'll turn it down and let it simmer for 1.5 hours to 2 hours. Yeah, you heard that right, 1.5 hours to 2 hours. Now, this is not a quick meal. It's not a throw it together in 30 minutes after you get home to get dinner on the table kind of meal. This is a time-intensive dish. There's lots of chopping, lots of dicing, lots of putting it in, letting it cook for a little while, and then adding something else, letting that cook. You know, don't think, oh, that's just too much work. You can always take shortcuts. You can buy onions already pre-diced at the grocery store. Instead of chopping up your own fresh tomatoes, open a can of diced tomatoes and throw in there. You know, there are ways to do this to make it easier. Fresh is always better, but if you don't have the time, the energy, whatever to do it all from fresh, take those shortcuts. Buy the stuff that's frozen, buy the stuff that's pre-chopped, throw it together, and then it's going to take you 2.5 hours instead of almost 4. All right, this is starting to bubble a little bit. It's just about to start boiling. I'm going to give it another minute or 2, turn it down to low, and then I'll see it in about 2 hours. And the goulash is done. The aroma is amazing. Going to add some pepper and stir that in. As I see the bay leaves, I will pull them out. There's one. Ooh, wow, hot. There's the other. Okay, so let's put some of this in a bowl. Oh my word, this looks and smells incredible. Wow. If you like beef and peppers, you're gonna love this. The paprika is definitely a strong flavor in this. If you don't like a lot of paprika, I would say use maybe 2 tablespoons. If you really love paprika, maybe up it a little bit more. It's a really good beefy, peppery stew. Yeah, I like it just the way it is. The beef is super, super tender. I really, really like that about it. It's a great meal. I think it's going to be delicious. I know my family is going to like it, and I hope yours will too. If you enjoyed today's video, please give this a big thumbs up. If you've not already, please do subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so that you find out every time I upload a new video to YouTube. Thanks for watching. God bless.